very eminent panel. It's indeed a very unique and rare privilege for me especially to be in the midst of these amazing people here. Let's start with a quick round of introductions. I'm going to go over one unique fact about all of these gentlemen here. Professor Sauvik Bhattacharya, Vice Chancellor of BITS Pilani. Of course, he has a BE from Jadavpur, MS from U Cincinnati, PhD from Texas A&M. The unique fact is the first recipient of an Outstanding Teaching Award from the Indian National Academy of Engineers. We got Ravi Cherkuri. He's the CEO of BITSAA. BITSAA is in its 15th year today. And I know this from experience. Running BITSAA International is a full-time job, but he has a daytime job as well. He's the Director of Engineering for Kelly. To his left is Om Prakash Agarwal. Om Prakash went to IIM Ahmedabad after BITS Pilani. He has a very unique distinction. He runs the BITSAA Jaipur chapter, but he also runs the IIM Ahmedabad Jaipur chapter. Chris Ramachandran, if you don't know Chris Ramachandran, you don't belong here. He's the star of this panel here. He's an advisor to the chairman of Aditya Birla Group. He went to BITS, and then following that, he went to IIM Calcutta. Professor Raghurama. Again, if you don't know Professor Raghurama, I don't know why you are even here. Professor Raghurama once famously gave me a D. So, in circuit theory, and there are several people here who also got a D. If they didn't get a D, maybe I would have been an NC. There were others like me. But Professor Raghurama, of course, MSc from IIT Madras, PhD from ISC. And unique fact about Professor Raghurama, he was awarded the Microsoft Faculty Champion in 2009. To his left is Professor Saha. Professor Saha is the director of the campus that's hosting us. He has an M.Pharm from Jadavpur, a lot of Jadavpur here today. And he has a PhD from our alma mater, BITS Pilani. What you do not know about Professor Saha is he has a patent for something called aceclofenac, which a lot of us here who are aging will be using a lot of. It's used for arthritis. Right? It's a drug. To his left is Professor Sarkar. Professor Sarkar is the current director of BITS Pilani in Pilani. He has a BE from Assam Engineering College, MTech from IIT Kharagpur, MS from University of British Columbia, and a PhD from IIT Kharagpur. And he's written a book on engineering graphics with AutoCAD. So those are our panelists. As for me, I will introduce myself, and I will also go over some housekeeping rules here. We have a large panel, so we are going to be very strict with time, which is why Sandhya gave me this job, because as some of you are aware, during my time at NASDAQ, I opened and closed the markets on time, and I rang the bell a lot, right? Including hosting the BITS Alumni for a closing bell in December of 2013. So I'm going to be strict with this panel. I got a 1-minute card right here, and we'll see how that goes. I'll start with a couple of personal anecdotes. It's great to be here in Dubai. I never imagined that we would be in Dubai, in the Middle East, on a BITS campus. I was at the first BITS practice school station in the Middle East, in Bahrain. And I had a similar conversation, not the same, with administrators and the director of BITS Pilani. It was a very urgent call. I had already arrived, started my practice school. They found out that I had not cleared control systems engineering. But now I had already spent 10,000 rupees and come to Bahrain, So I wasn't going back. I thought I was going to make at least an E. Turns out I made only a quarter in the final exam. So I worked out an arrangement with BITS wherein I would do a special project while I did my PS2. So brings back those memories from my days in the Middle East, when the first ever practice school station in 1991 in the Middle East. A second anecdote that I wanted to share with you is I've never been in an hour-long session with so many professors, ever. So thanks for this great opportunity, and I hope that you'll not inflict a surprise quiz on me after this panel. So with that said, Professor Bhattacharya, all yours. We're going to give you 8 to 10 minutes, as we said early on. And there's someone here who's going to be giving you those cues.
So it's the current narrative panorama of BITSAA. So you have Goa in the middle and Hyderabad at the bottom. It's fine, I'll stand here. And we just commissioned a project with a group of faculty members. It's a source referenced history about BITSAA and in a perspective in the context of the history of technical education in India and also the nationalist and mercantile history of India. So I think it's a valuable project because we do have anecdotes, we do have published documents on BITSAA, but what is technically known as a source referenced history hasn't been done, and I think it's going to be a valuable addition. Not only will position BITSAA in terms of its contribution to the national narrative on technical education, as well as the surroundings, the nationalist history and mercantile history. So that's something in the making, has been started. Okay, just a few numbers quickly. I'm not going to read all that. So about 12,700 plus students across 4 campuses. And yes, it's heavily inclined toward the undergraduate population, but that's something probably we are planning to have a little bigger fraction as we move along in the postgraduate and doctoral levels. Number of faculty members, that's the story right now, and a total of 700 plus and growing. And there has been a reasonable progress. Recruiting good faculty is a huge challenge in this in India today. A variety of issues, and we are trying to do our best. And this is something. This remains a grand focus. This is a core issue in my mind and our team's mind. So this is what we are basically trying to do, an equal emphasis on these 3 circles of research, academics, and industry, and of course technology intervention in everything, and a whole lot of collaboration, networking, and so this is this 3 centers, 3 foci, so that's what we are trying to achieve. It's not that way currently. BITSAA started on a slightly different shift toward research back in 2011. The Chancellor approved the first growth plan. And we are on that track. There has been various editions of various plans. And currently we are working on to get initiated on a strategic plan for the 2017 to 2025 period. And maybe later we can discuss a little bit on this. So one of the emphasis, I said shift in on focus on research. It's not really a shift. It's research and teaching. So it's not either or. So without compromising on the teaching, which has been the flagship strength of BITSAA. So teaching learning has been a focus. Lately there are some structural additions, like we have the entire higher education space all over the world and India included. It's a churning space. It's changing contours and all kinds of new things, phenomena that's affecting us. And so Teaching Learning Center has been established in each of our 4 campuses, and new faculty mentoring and a whole lot of staffs that are in place. Recently, we are a little bit prominent in the pedagogic research scenario in the country, in India. So we got a reasonably significant MHRD grant in developing 7 pedagogic framework courses, and it brought some national prominence to us. We are discussing, haven't implemented, reviewing the academic governance granularity that we have in BITS Pilani. And we are also discussing few new program offerings, shifting gears, what are the current interests, etc. One example is a postgraduate program offering, not just a course on business analytics, which will have a very substantial connect with academic and corporate partners. So something we are planning to, I think Ravi will announce this, we are planning to have a meeting tomorrow on this, tomorrow first up on the sidelines outside these sessions. So this is, there are 4 quadrants on this, and we have, so BITS Pilani has a reasonably good position, I believe. Again, I'm kind of juxtaposing against the leading other institutes in this country. I won't name them, I promise to myself. So innovation incubation, we have a center, for, CIIE, Center for Innovation, Incubation and Entrepreneurship, in each of the 4 campuses. And this is where one area I think BITS Pilani has inherent strength, and it's doing well. Number of incubatees, number of groups, startups graduating, going out and succeeding outside, getting awards, national awards, international awards, etc., etc. So all these, and the tinkering labs are in place. So this is one place where I think we would like to continue to prosper, with substantial help from you all. The research scenario, the publications, I want to draw your attention. Of course, the absolute numbers are not as much as some of the other leading institutes. So IIT D is IIT Delhi, and IIT G is IIT Guwahati. And I would like to draw your attention that BITS has inherent strength in the sense that the citations per paper, 9.9. I'm not saying these numbers are everything about research, no. But they are, something. So it's just a comparison. There is some strength, but this is an area which is going to grow, which is we are focusing on. We are trying to facilitate. We are trying to enhance, strengthen everything. Financial resources is one challenge. We are going to see in this area. So international programs and IPCD collaborations, that division is seeing reasonable growth, reasonable activity, but I think we can reinforce. So this is one area again where internationalization is supposed to be a strength of any good leading university in any country today. So we started international student admission in BTech 2 years back in Hyderabad, and last year we had Hyderabad and Goa, and this year we are going to have, 2017, we are going to have Hyderabad, Goa, and Pilani. So, and the last one on the right, bottom right. So BITS Pilani, as far as I know, is the only institute in India, leading institute in India, which has actually structurally set up an institutional knowledge analysis cell, IKA. This is something, if you want to do evidence-based decision making, etc. So this is, it's going to have, it has to be backed up by a good ERP system, and then you will have a institute dashboard, and which will have live update and things like that. So IKA is going to be a beautiful, back office, which will really give us the strength with the numbers and all that stuff. So the analytics is going to be used by us as well. Okay. So let me make a confession that we can do much better in the connect between the university and the alums. I think we can do much better. So, I find that these 57,000 friends out there, this is one of our biggest strengths. That's going to be the key strength that I want to leverage on. And so we are discussing this kind of actively, that we'll have a good leadership position. We do have some structure in place, but we'll have a good leadership position in the form of a Dean Alumni Affairs, and backed up by a strong, dedicated team, student team, which will be the bridge between BITSAA and BITS. So seamless data sharing between these 2 organizations, it's not happening probably right now. I would like to have an advisory board. I'd like to have an endowment committee, which will meet in some frequency every year and decide on how to use the funds in what project and stuff like that. We are going to launch a lifelong BITS email ID. We are working on it. Sometime soon we should be able to do that. And I want to ensure from the university that I will have complete transparency. This I say with huge emphasis. annual report, audit report, utilization report, etc., so that the donor really knows where the money went and how it was spent and every detail of it. There are no two ways about it. It's absolutely, that's a personal promise from my side. The two areas where funds are critically required, because we are not at the national level in terms of the amount of the incentive that we have. One is the PhD student fellowship, and the other one is the research seed money we give to the new incoming assistant professors. And I believe these two groups of people are they are the spine of the entire research activity that happens in any higher education institute. So we want to do better. We want to grow higher. That's it. I have few photographs. We have 1 minute for that. These are just photographs, no comments. So that's one of the new workshop. It's just a glimpse to WLP studio. That's Goa study zone. I just picked few photographs. Budh Bhavan, renovated, and some numbers. So we are in the middle of this 1450 crore mega innovation project, renovation and creation of new facilities. And it's a huge plan, huge incentive. I think all the three campuses in India, you are in Dubai campus, you are seeing it. They are, very attractive aesthetically, architecturally. I think it's a beautiful campuses, all three. That's it. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Ravi Cherukuri, and I'm the CEO of BITSAA International. And I came here to talk about one thing and with one theme. If at all there is anything that you should remember about BITSAA International, that is, think BITSAA International. So I'm going to walk you through the breadth of the things that we work on, and you will see for yourself that we take up a lot of activities. We coordinate with our alma mater, and we help students, and we help faculty, and we do a lot of things. I want you to get a sense for the breadth. And one important message is, think BITSAA. You want to contribute anything, think us first. So, started in 2001. One of the co-founders is sitting right here, Venu. And in 2017 now, we've got 150 plus volunteers who are working for BITSAA International. Without them, we couldn't achieve what we achieve. So they are a very passionate bunch of BITSians. And we have 25 plus initiatives. So I'll cover some of them now. This presentation is not meant to be a complete list, but just to give you a sense of the breadth. And there are 40 plus chapters. And the chapter that is hosting BGM now is one of them. And the chapters also do a lot of useful and very cool things to keep BITSians connected. As far as our membership strength is concerned, there are 35,000 plus members who are registered on our website. So they are connected to one another and to BITSAA International. And as far as our social media reach is concerned, there are a lot more people that are interested in knowing about us, and we have a following of about 145,000. So this is one of the main verticals, so to speak, our relationship with the BITS administration itself. There are several initiatives that we have taken up over a period of time. BITS Connect, most of you may know this. There are two versions, 1.0 and 2.0. And essentially, this is wired the campus and also provided telepresence across all 4 campuses. The second one is Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership. So this is to encourage students to become entrepreneurs. Then we also help with Silver Jubilee meets. So every year batches meet at BITS Pilani, and they come up with an initiative that they want to support. So we make most of those happen through BITSAA International. Distinguished Alumni Awards. So these are given out by BITS Pilani every year. And we help in outreach process for that. And on that note, the nominations for 2017 Distinguished Alumni Award are open now. And we have a lot of esteemed alumni here. I would encourage you all to please consider nominating yourself or some other esteemed alumni that you know to Distinguished Alumni Award. The details are available at bitsaa.org website. Then there are endowed chairs, faculty awards, we support faculty projects. And we connect faculty to local alumni whenever they are on sabbatical in different countries. Again, this is not meant to be a complete list, but just to give you an idea. The next aspect is students and alumni. On your left-hand side, those are some of the areas in which we support students. Scholarships, every year, more than 100 students benefit from scholarships. So in the last year, we have given out more than 22 lakhs of scholarship money to students. These are the money that we raised from alumni like you. Then we also present awards to students and alumni. We also help students with travel grants. It could be money or miles. And there is BITSAA miles. So if you have any expiring miles, please consider donating those miles. Then we also help in paper publication and presentation assistance for students. Then as far as students and alumni careers are concerned, there is Career Center where people can look for jobs. BITSIAN's hiring BITSIANs or other companies as well. And there is alumni mentoring. You want some mentoring in terms of your career. Lots of senior alumni come and we connect them to the junior folks who want to be mentored. So we have alumni mentoring and then graduate application assistance. A lot of you may have heard this already in the form of BITS to MS PhD and BITS to B School. So these are all the initiatives that we have to help students to further their education. Then this is another aspect, that is support BITSIAN families and community in general. Benevolence Fund and 83 Batch Fund, these are just examples again here. They are to support BITSIAN families in need if there are medical emergencies and things like that. BECEF, a shout out to the 87 batch again, Sandhya and Venu. So this is to help the kids of workers at BITS Pilani campuses in their education. And we also cater to emergencies. If there are emergencies, people reach out using emergency@bitsaa.org or other means, and we raise funds. For example, the recent case is Chimpuji. A lot of people who went to Pilani campus may know him. So he fell ill, and for his operation and maintenance of his family, lots of BITSIANs came together and we facilitated it, and over 30 lakhs were gathered and disbursed. Then this is another avenue, social and health. BGM, as you all know, we are all here. BITSAA Dubai chapter is hosting it. Thank you. And we have seen delegates from all parts of the world here. BITSIAN's Day, most of you may know this again. So in the last edition of BITSIAN's Day 2016, 25 countries, people from 25 countries have gathered and celebrated their own gatherings and 180 locations across these 25 countries. BITS to Fitness, so burn 1 million calories is a new initiative that we came up with. Essentially, the idea is BITSIANs will collectively burn about 1 million calories in the span of 2 weeks. So the first edition, we saw 0.7 million, not exactly million, but we'll get there. Marathons is another one. And we also facilitate local chapters for their meets and other aspects related to chapter activities. As I said, the one thing that if you want to take away from this, that is Think BITSAA. You may have some plans of helping students or other alumni or BITS institution. So please know that we have lots of initiatives. The chances are we already may have an initiative that you're thinking about implemented, and you can support that. Even if we don't have, then we'll work with you. This is the way to be connected. So again, we have a lot of people who have registered. In case you are not, then please go on to bitsaa.org and register. So Professor Bhattacharya, in his discussion now, he mentioned that BITS is planning to institute new disciplines, and he would like for alumni input on that. And if you are willing to provide your input, we will have a separate side chat tomorrow on this, at 11 o'clock. So at that time, if we can meet in the room beside this, auditorium, BITSAA, our administration can take your advice as well on that. Okay. Professor Bhattacharya also talked about research initiatives that are going on in campus and how that has become an increasing, or that is gaining more focus now. So on that context, BITSAA International, in participation with BITS administration, is launching a new endowment fund. We are calling this BITS Accelerate. So this is BITSAA 2020 campaign to help with the research initiatives on campus. And we plan to set up a big endowment fund and help the university in its research activities primarily. And there are various aspects to this: student enrichment, faculty enrichment, and infrastructure projects. And there are some examples of what are being considered here. So these are some of the fundraising initiatives that we are launching, Cent for Bits. So one-time contribution of 1% of your income for 1 year. And graduating class gift. So batches that are graduating, they will gift something that will be long-lasting. And alumni dinner, again, this is for graduating class. And one other thing will be a donor wall as well. So how and what, in what form, they'll be decided, but a donor wall. So there are other ways as well that you can contribute. And again, think BITSAA. We are there to help you connect to other alumni and to our alma mater as well. Thank you.
2001 on 9/11, when one of our classmates was on the AA-11 flight that went into the World Trade Center. And we said, as alumni, what can we do to help Vamsi Pendyala and his family? And a phone call that I got when I was at Reuters planted the seed for BITSAA International. We did not have any infrastructure. We did not have any alumni organization. We were not incorporated. From there to the first event that I organized together with Sandeep Arora and Anupendra, to what we have today, this large multi-chapter event, organization. A lot of effort has gone into this. And that's primarily because we alumni care so deeply about BITS Pilani. So big round of applause to ourselves first. Cool. So that brings us to the discussion themes that we had contemplated for a bit while we were sitting there. So we'll start first with Professor Bhattacharya. I hope you have a microphone there. We're going to talk first about, there's been a fair amount of discussion today about BITS becoming more of a research-oriented institution. We all are extremely proud that we are a very, very highly regarded undergraduate center of learning. Now we're talking about postgraduate and research programs. And I know that's a long, hard road. I know we've already made a start. And I know more seeds are being planted. So can you just walk us through what that might entail, what that long road might entail, what's being done?
Already seeing some results, outcome. Just to share a number, last year, financial year 2015-16, we had about 13 crore rupees worth of sponsored grant, research grant. This year, the financial year is not yet over. We already have 21 crore. It's our colleagues. They are the ones who are doing all the hard work and submitting competitive research proposals nationally as well as internationally. So there is new energy. There is a little invigorated, spirit, and we are trying to facilitate. Many of us we are trying to facilitate, connect with the right announcement, and trying to network with the agencies, and all kinds of things are going on. So you need to do that. It's just that we will do more research, and so I'm sure my colleagues, Professor Shah, probably I would like him to make some comment. research is just too broad a term. You know, you want to granularize a little bit and say that what, I mean, we also, you know, this also ran kind of, you know, that's not really it. So BITS Pilani has a distinct position in the country, very distinct, unique position in the country in terms of industry engagement, like no other. No other institute probably has as much industry engagement in India. I am including all the IITs. So I think we should leverage on that strength. So we should do result-oriented translational research, and that should include, others will comment, that should include social engineering as well. So there's a beautiful opportunity. These are void spaces where BITS Pilani can play a unique role.
Absolutely. Perhaps a good time to actually go to Professor Saha. And I know, you know, Professor Bhattacharya implied that there are some plans. Is there an area where, as BITS, with our brand, with our unique strengths, we could actually start something that could grow pretty rapidly? Are there any ideas that you have that you can share with us?
Yes, obviously, because as Professor Bhattacharya mentioned, the shift happened already towards the research, but it requires a more boosting and driving the faculty and the doctoral students. Actually, today's need is the more of application and innovative research. I think this is where we can really try to do something, and one idea which I have in mind is some sort of creating a research innovation center, which is not purely under BITS Pilani, but since its governing will be done by some of the alumni who are highly capable research capability in different universities, as well as some alumni who are from industries, they have successful industries, entrepreneurs. Maybe that what Professor Bhattacharya mentioned, BITS has a strong industry relationship from that, where if we think of creating within 3 years a corpus fund of 25 to 30 crores, and from which we can float interdisciplinary, application-oriented or innovative research, which will ultimately help the industry as well as the societal development. And these projects, and I roughly made a calculation or a proposal also, where within 3 years, there can be running parallelly 14 to 16 projects can be run, and the funding will be done by that governing body or something which I'm saying consisting of alumni and few BITS faculty or some leadership members. And these 16, 17 projects which will be running regularly, and in 2 or 3 years, it will be parallelly running continuously, 14 to 16, or it can be more. And whatever the benefits will come out of that one, that will be pumped in that center itself, so that the BITS research space is totally changed, and BITS research capability also enhanced will definitely, and then BITS alumni is not only participating in the organization of that one, as well as their input will be helpful for the development of the research. That is in brief, I am putting the idea.
Thank you, Mr. Saha. You know, the 3 circles we spoke about, industry, academics, and research. Maybe there's a 4th circle. That's what Professor Saha is talking about. The 4th circle is alumni. We have several thousands of alumni who have PhDs, who are actually involved in research, who run research institutions for large companies, Ericsson, Microsoft, you name it. Everywhere you go, there are a lot of BITSians. So perhaps there is a way for alumni to fit into this, you know, this ambition, this desire, because we too want to contribute. So perhaps there is a middle ground we could, you know, start to bridge the gap there a little bit. Professor Raghurama, this is something that I wanted to bring up with you. I've never asked you a question ever, so we will. So let's do this. You know, we are very proud as undergraduate students, right? We are always top ranked for undergraduate studies. Now, obviously, when I went to BITS, I was the last but one guy to get into BITS. It was based on my CBSE score. It was that easy. If you got a decent score, you got in. Then you introduced BITSAA, and I noticed a big change in the population on the campus, right? When I was there were about 50% girls. So that worked well for us, right? Yeah, there were a lot of girls. And I was in Pilani about a month ago, and I thought to myself, if I was this batch, I would not have myself a girlfriend. It's that bad, right? The numbers have fallen. So, and I also noticed that, you know, some some groups are excellent test takers. They say that of Telugus. I'm a Telugu, so I'm probably a contradiction there. But the question I had for you is, how do we, is it time to pause and reflect on our academic testing, when we bring in students? Is there a chance for us to make this, maybe not go back to the olden days and take in anybody and everybody with a score, but maybe have the BITSAT element and have some other elements so that we get well-rounded people like they do in the US schools, right, with good reference, good essay, and so on. Any thoughts on that?
At the outset, let me make it very clear. I'm not responsible for bringing down that girls' population. It was the government which said that you have no other option than joining AIEEE exam conducted by the government, or you conduct your own test. Then we told the government that we'll conduct our own test and we'll give a example or demonstrate the technology for the country to follow. IITs and IIMs followed many years later. So, but yeah, the outcome is drastically from 45% it went down to 20% and is still around 10% today. We feel bad about it. So the question that you are asking, okay, the second you are asking a question, I think is way of getting it back to me for giving that E grade. If Venu got a E grade and
I got a D.
D, sorry.
Yeah.
D.
I wasn't that bad.
Maybe you are in the border, I don't know. So, or almost NC, and he's now today sitting here and asking me a question, is done very well in life. So, if I say that the test decides the merit, I would be terribly wrong. So, it is taken that a standardized test score is not the ultimate to define merit. There are different ways of doing it. Unfortunately, in India, the case today is we have to select 2,200 students from 1.8 lakh aspirants. The challenge is, do we conduct a test to eliminate somebody? Almost happens like elimination, like JEE does, conduct a terribly difficult test so that, and then make them go through several levels, or pick the best. So since we were mandated to conduct entrance test, we said we will make it not as difficult as that, but select 2,200. And when you came in, the 12th example, we also got the best students at that time. So there is no one way of doing or selecting. That is the first thing. Each one will give its false positives and false negatives. So we have to live with it. Now the question that you ask, is it time? I can tell you that it is always the time. And if you see, every university in the world, worth its name, asks this question. I like, some of you might have read The Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by Robert Prisig. Wandering on different things, he talks about what is ideal education. So I'm leaving that part. Practically, what is possible? I also want to clarify, we don't admit only on the basis of BITSAT test. We insist on 75% marks in 12th. So that values a systematic testing, not one-day testing. Okay, that is one. Second thing, we also admit first-rank students, toppers. We have started admission based on the SAT score. So there are different streams of admissions. We certainly, this is the time, and then we continuously debate this. Is there another method? There are methods. But as I said, sometimes we have to be bound by regulations, sometimes. So I think at some point, we will do something different. Just to give an idea, when we started the BITSAT, we wanted to make that test adaptive, not multiple choice. Make it adaptive, but still based on the technology. We've still not been able to do that for different reasons. But I think I have answered reasonably the question that you asked.
Dubai campus has a 40% plus girls.
So this is where I would join if I was class of 2020. Professor Sarkar, you had some views on potential changes. I mean, some ideas really on maybe changing the test so that it's still merit-based and it's a meritocracy, but we could potentially expand the diversity.
Yeah, I think someday we'll have to look into that. Diversity is one issue. We're very proud of our, admission process. But if you look into the other institutions, they are bound by government regulations, quota, this thing, that thing. And I am very sure that questions will be asked one day. Why you are not doing that? And it is better to prepare ourselves without going into the quota system as such, because that may create other problems. But one area we have been talking for a long time, like how the girl students are not getting in, because it was almost 38 to 40%, now it is 14, 15% in the undergraduate level. Higher degree level, it is much better, fortunately. So the question is, we have initiated a study of the questions, and trying to find out whether, each and each individual or a group of individuals, they have got certain strengths and weaknesses. So is it that girl students are getting handicapped because of our question paper making? Or it is, because there is a kind of, people believe, may not be true, may be true also, that mathematics areas the girls don't perform that well. But that is debatable, again I'm saying. So is it that if you look into their answers, papers, that is, how did the answer, gender-wise, if you look into, if we find that in certain areas maybe there are some inherent problem, or because of, their education, the way they go through it, there are some social problems also, as you know, they can't go to the, say, many a time, they're not allowed to go for coachings, etc., parents don't allow them. Is it reflecting in the, overall selection process? So which are the areas they are not doing well? If we can identify and modify our question papers accordingly, it may, again, it is very difficult to, predict at this point of time, because identifying those areas also will be difficult. This may be done to increase. I personally believe that more girls should be there in the campus, because we have seen days when 40% students are girls. Now it is 15%. So this is a kind of responsibility on us to look into that. Many of the institutions are having more population than that. So that may be one of the things. If you deeply look into the question papers and the way they have answered, is that there is a trend? If there is, can you do something about the question papers and try to see that it helps or not? That is the way to look into that, I suppose.
Thank you, thank you. And
May I just add something?
yeah, please. Can you grab a microphone?
It's not my brief, Venu, I'm sorry, but I would just like to add to this, only from a point of view of providing information and facts.
Sure.
Sometime end of 2015, early 2016, the admissions office has undertaken a very, very detailed analysis using data analytics, because we have over 10, 12 years of data on applicants, detailed demographics, and data on how they track in terms of their grades and performances over a 4-year period. Now you start, whether it's applications of about 160,000 per annum for 10 years, or 2,000 to 2,500 admissions over a span of 10 years, it's a volume of data. So the admissions office has undertaken 2 exercises to study our question bank, because it's a graded testing, am I right? Initial easy questions and more difficult questions. They're looking at that question bank, where it works, where it does not work. They're also looking at the demographic profile. And I don't know the outcomes of those studies as yet, but such a study is underway. And this could be the right time, Professor Sarkar, for you to get in touch and ask them what are they doing with it. I just thought I'd provide this data point.
Thank you. That's pretty good information there. With respect to grad students, right? I mean, I met with a lot of students when I was on campus. And I just wanted to know what's the approach that we would adopt to attract the best of the best for master's and PhD programs as well, so that we build something that is world class. Maybe Professor Bhattacharya, if you could answer that.
Well, first, in the country, we have very quickly. The national scholarship rates fixed by DST and similar organizations. So BITS Pilani currently for the institute funded master students is not able to pay at that rate. We are significantly lower. But where there is a sponsored project which supports the doctoral student or the master student, there we are able to support at that rate. So this needs to be at par. Otherwise, it's not a level playing field. It's bad competition, and we are going to lose out, in terms of good students going over to even inferior NITs. That's happening right now in many cases. I wouldn't say all of them, but some cases they are shifting because of that. And lack of doctoral student. I'm taking the doctoral as well as masters. Both the entire graduate studies, and it's connected with, then there is, I think I mentioned two things, research scholar fellowship and assistant professor's research seed money. And an assistant professor, as soon as they enter in India today, the leading institutes, they're giving a fairly hefty, by Indian standards, it's a fairly hefty amount as a research seed money to set up a new lab, etc., just to get the research going for a fresh input, recruit. We are not able to pay at that rate. We are actually way below that. That's a huge gap. Again, if you don't do that, you are not going to get the bright assistant professors. You're going to lose out in the competition to the other institutes. And there is a coupling here. The assistant professors, this is a very natural phenomenon, and anybody in the academia would know this anywhere. The assistant professors would also be looking for supply of good grad students, availability of that. The good assistant professor will not stay if the research scholars are not available in plenty supply. So these are all coupled. So this is where, while we need to do industry support, we need to do sponsored research, that happens. But in all the leading institutes in the country, about 70% or 75% of the research scholars, PhD students, are funded by the institute because they get the hefty MHRD grant. So this is an area which is challenging. I'm not saying that we need to replicate that model, but I'm saying that we need to be in the competition.
Right. I think perhaps an idea there, again, if we lean on all of the PhDs that have graduated from BITS and then gone on to do their PhD, right? Maybe we need to take the data analytics approach there as well and see how we could maybe lean on that universe of people and potentially, figure out grants outside of the MHRD system. Did I say that right? MHRD, is that right? Maybe there's something there that BITSAA can help you with as well, help BITS with as well. Cool. We'll go into the next theme. I'm going to cut out one full theme because I've been told the buses are coming. So let's do the strategic alignment between BITS and BITSAA. Maybe we'll bring in Om Prakash. He's been very quiet. Let's talk about your experience with IIM Ahmedabad alumni and BITS alumni. What is unique? I hope we are better, right? What do you guys think? I hope we are better. But secondly, you also have done a lot for the community, separate from your chapter role. And BITSians in Rajasthan can potentially have already helped. What's your experience with that? Can you please walk us through that?
Thank you. I'm Om Prakash, 63-68 batch. See, at back office, we have been talking that alumni is a very diversified, very, very diversified. Some of us may have our grandchildren now studying or in the jobs. Everyone coming from very different backgrounds. So, what is the really focal point for the alumni to get together, to interact? Unlike the industrial associations or unlike even the batch meets we have, how do we make the alumni interested in the alumni activities at chapter level, at institute level, at national level, and BITSAA international level? To my mind, the only answer is the institute. our alma mater. Souvik has made my life a bit easy when he sort of planned out a number of activities which institute plans. But we feel, and as asked by the difference between the IIMs and BITSAA are threefold. Number one, the institute has lot of support for the alumni chapters. There's a regular interaction. There's a well-groomed, well-established administrative setup at the institute level, at the national level, and at the international level. Now that link, that interconnectivity, that response is not very strong, to say the least. So what I would suggest and request the directors here that they have to develop the basic database, the basic structure at the institute level, interconnect every one of us. And the same thing applies for the BITSAA International also. I was just asking whether there is an all India body. Well, there is none. That's what I am told. So why not we have some structured setup starting from the institute being a focal point, then at the national level and at the international level, every chapter may be very loosely connected with these setups, with lot of support from the institutes. Chris was making a comment that the institutes have their own agenda. The institutes have a full-time job, teaching, researching, and all that.
So do you.
So do we. So do we have. Now, the point is, how do we connect our two full-time jobs? The institute have to consider alumni as their faculty. We are the resources, both at intelligence level, at the input level, both in terms of the even finances or even the procedural parts. The institute must involve the alumni in whatever activities they can, but definitely in the chapter activities. My director at IIM Ahmedabad is willing, if I organize a program, if I invite him, he will be there at any time I like. I would like to have that type of, it's general approach. Question is general approach. We have to have that type of activities, that type of setup, that type of administrative setup at the institute level, which supports the chapters and which involves the chapters in their regular activities, and they consider, we are talking about the 3 activities, that should be the 4th activity, the 4th pillar or the 5th pillar of the institutes. That's one part of it.
Absolutely. Sir, we called our director. And
now,
4 of them
something about what chapters can do themselves. Well, apart from the usual wine and dine activities, that's fine. You see, we all are living in a very vibrant society. But at the same time, we have a lot of what we call lesser privileged part of the section, privileged part of the society. And we equally owe our responsibility to them. So my humble request to all the chapters, all the alumni, is to engage themselves in the socio-economic responsibilities. Best thing, it can be education. Education for the, I don't use the word underprivileged, say the lesser privileged. The education, even for the BITSAA, that can be one activity which some of the chapters can engage into. We have been doing some activities, particularly in the semi-urban or rural areas of Rajasthan. And I can tell you, there is no dearth of money. People are more than willing to contribute. BITSians are willing to contribute. Only thing, initiatives are required at the chapter level, duly supported by the institutes, and you can definitely help the local population. You can definitely find a place in the society with more dignity and more honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a lot to emulate there. It's been a long journey. For 15 years, we've been pushing from BITSAA's side, and we haven't seen, a pull from BITSAA's side. You have, you have a lot of experience working with the Chancellor and in alumni, in the area of alumni affairs. Yeah, exactly. Given that, we're talking about potentially a new BITSAA alumni cell. What kind of structure and process would you like to see there so that there's an equal amount of push and pull, there's better collaboration, and a natural understanding between the two organizations? A quick 30 seconds on that.
I pass.
All right, let's do it.
It's better I don't do it in 30 seconds. See, first of all, let's recognize that the situation, I would say the platform of relationship between BITSAA and BITS, the institute, was 7, 8 years ago, and today, there's a sea change. And BITS, the institution, has had its role to play. BITSAA has had its role to play on that exercise. And today we are seeing the third BGM. If I remember the first BGM, Pradeep Sethi was there, I remember. We all convened in the Goa campus, invited by Professor Raman, who had just taken over as a chair. Delhi, Bombay, Pune, Bangalore, Chennai, Calcutta. 6, 7, 1, 2 from each came. And we didn't know because people in BITSAA West Coast were trying to organize the BGM in India sitting in California. And 2, 3 conversations, I said, you guys are doing it totally wrong. You need people on the ground here, if that's your intent. That's how we started, if you remember. And then the time was about 9 months or 10 months left. And it was Pradeep Sethi who said, we'll do it. Good, bad, or ugly, we will do it. And we got about 1,100, 1,200 people coming inside. So you have the organization strength. The Chancellor came, all the directors came. The question now is, how do we take it forward? And I think Om Prakash ji has talked about it. Number one, I'm sounding crude, but both BITS, the institution, and BITSAA, the organization, have to understand what's in it for each other. It's not a nice thing to say, what's in it for me. But I think what BITSAA does has to make an impact on each individual alum, whether it is the guy who's graduated 2 years ago or 40 years ago. It has to mean something to them. And at the end of the day, when you sit down and think of it, every human being wants a phenomenal sense of belongingness. And that is the central core driver and relevance. As far as BITS, the institution, is concerned, Om Prakash again said it, it's absolutely a free resource. We pay tons of money to outsiders as consultants, but we don't tap the same brains which is available free of cost. So, in simple, to put into a formula, number one, I think what's missing today is a single organization where BITS, whether it's a leadership or one or two people, and BITSAA, one or two people, formulate why are we doing this, what do we need to do, and back it up with a very, very strong implementation schedule and agenda. That's what is missing right now. BITSAA is doing its own thing. When it needs to engage, it engages. BITS does its own thing. When it needs to engage, it engages. But can you change that equation? I think therein lies the answer.